It's working, great. Thank you to Tim and everyone for the chance to be here today. It really is an honor, and I look forward to meeting many of you. I've only got 12 minutes, so I'm going to introduce this presentation in about 40 seconds, and then what I really want to do with my time is introduce a range of people who are not in the room, some of them because they're no longer alive, others because they wouldn't be able to travel, but who have taught me more than anyone else in my long years why digital communication tools and why digital literacy matters. There are people who, without technology and without digital media tools, could not communicate at all, and in a few cases, who literally came back to life because of some of these tools. They were able to communicate, that they were able to hear and feel and wanted to go back out into the world after severe trauma because of the tools, and then were able to teach some of us who worked with them all that we needed to know to go on in this field and invent the new content. So it is about content and creativity. It's not about the technological tools, but it's about a different kind of emotional literacy and social literacy, which a range of people who cannot speak can share with us. So I'll introduce just the first example, and then my video will roll through, and I'll use my time after the talk later in coffee breaks to tell you more if you want to know. So the first example before we play it, the Arts Council of England has a wonderful program where they did, I don't know if it's still funded, where they ring up people like myself and they say, would you be a creative agent? And I said, if it means I could be a secret agent and could bring in people to do work that would not be funded through any other means, that wouldn't fit anybody's funding call or anybody's definition ever, but that would really matter, and I know we would learn a lot from it. And they said yes, which was wonderful. So in my creative agent role, I brought 3 Irish musicians into a special school in England where the kids, to be brief, would have multiple disabilities, were mainly non-verbal, and often didn't make eye contact and didn't communicate. And we did a durational project to see in what ways could musical creativity and some eye control technologies we'd invented help them to communicate. It might have failed completely. I'm delighted to say that after 48 hours, we had kids communicating. So I'll start with that, and then we'll just introduce some more as we go along. So, yeah, thank you. So music is a language for all learners at the Three-Way School.
I'm Colin Musnelly. I'm a touring musician, composer, arranger, and what an agent does here. And for me, music is the profound connection between human beings, and that's why I play music.
My name is Robbie Perry, and one of the ideas I'm trying to explore is if the kind of language and vocabulary that can be learned with music can be transferred to social skills and communication with children.
Hi, my name is Steve Kearney. I'm a musician and guitarist by trade. I play Irish traditional music, and I accompany various singers. I'm a PhD student at Smart Lab in London, and I'm here at Three-Way School in Bath to learn. My PhD thesis is on a notation system I developed over the last 30 years, and the governing principle of that system is to reduce the amount of learning required in order to read, write and play music. And so as a result of that, I realised there is applications for special needs situations.
Okay, so the plan this afternoon is we're going to work with 4 young people. We're going to, as our kind of, I'll call it the cement. This instrument is called a tenorion. What this gives us an opportunity to do is layer several choices of sound. So we're making the basic elements of a composition here: rhythm, bass, some melodic sounds, and our students will be creating this. It's very easy to generate.
I'm going to shout over him if you don't mind. These are kids who hadn't communicated before. One had to use an eye control machine with pupil movement. And in the space of 48 hours, they had a film showing in 3D in a surround system, and they were writing and playing music together. They've since carried on the collaboration with some of these musicians as well. I'll just let him speak to them.
Having made choices about how these sounds will function on the tenorion, to add in acoustic instruments. So we'll have some available in the room, and we'll invite our 4 students to say, what kind of other instruments would you like to hear on top of this? What do these sounds trigger in your mind? What kind of acoustic instruments would work with that sort of colour of sound.
So something completely different. This is an eye control machine that my team made. 2 dancers with cerebral palsy, Katie Gilligan and James Brosnan. Bobby Byrne and I are not in, we're in the piece because we moved the wheelchairs, but it's a duet between 2 dancers with cerebral palsy. It was written by Katie here, the beautiful Katie, who we met in the Special Olympics dance performance in 2003. A professional musical band accompanied her, but the music was written by Katie using eye movement after we were able to purchase that system for her. So she created the lexicon of movement, guitar pickups attached to her vocal cords, made the sounds which became the vocals for the music. It's now released on Keela's album, which is selling worldwide. But the important thing is that 2 people are enabled to communicate directly and to perform directly in just the way that any other girl and boy, or boy and girl, or boy and boy, whatever, would be able to dance. So there's a lot of technology around the room, but the core of it is James here in the chair, who's using his eye control to tell Bobby and myself where to move. Bobby here using some basic biosensors, but again, we're not interested in the technology except as a scaffolding to help us understand what James and Katie know that we don't know, that we could then import into the next technology or content system for the next group of learners. So I'll just let you see a bit of Katie's, this is called Katie's song and it's her dance. In terms of literacy, I'll just say we're so proud, and Katie's so proud, that before this performance, she had no way to show that she could read, so no one had taught her in her, up to that point, 21 years. Katie's now teaching reading, speaking of literacy, to other kids with CP who people might have assumed weren't able to do anything because they weren't able to speak. So there are many, many wraparound and ongoing ripple effect impacts once the right tech tool hacked together in whatever way with the right content and a group of creative artists and educationalists together enable that work to happen. This is at the Science Gallery in Dublin. In all these performances, we stream in these in this case, it's a Second Life dance environment where able-bodied and disabled dancers also join, and they have to enter the environment via a ramp in a wheelchair, so they get a real sense of how difficult it is to enter a real-world space in a wheelchair as they enter our virtual environment. And people beam in from all over the world, they find out Katie's dancing and they want to join her. While they're on there, they share information about content, curriculum, and all kinds of other issues, but they also learn to dance with a wheelchair, with a crutch, and to ask, how do you use the eye control system? Could I make my own language? What kinds of education programs are available? So the tools become a kind of magnet, attracting industry funding and attracting educators and media experts.
Basically, it's an eye control system, which means that you can control the computer with your eyes. You can also use it to control your environment, open the curtains, answer the door, whatever you like. We're hopefully going to be setting him up so he'll be able to change the television. That's the plan. Okay, this is like his starting page that he starts everything from. He'll be able to go to television control. For the TV on and off, I'm hoping now to teach this controller, which is what he's going to be using linked with the eye gaze system, what is in the remote. So this does the same job as the remote, basically. And this is where I'm hoping that it starts learning and doesn't ignore me. It's going to need to point at the telly, so I'll probably Velcro it somewhere around there, you know, because it needs to be in that general direction. Daniel will be doing this with his eyes, but I'll just press this. Try again. Yeah. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is just program it for the other things, volume up, volume down, channel up, channel down kind of thing. So yeah, it's turned back on. So it's all very hopeful at the minute. What I'd like you to do is, if you could look at the television.
A young man called Daniel was able to communicate after 5 years after he was stabbed and lost only
switch the television off. Then look
this is
at that
Dr.
one.
Mick Donegan, enabling Daniel to speak again
and
using
then
the system.
wait a second. And it's off. Okay.
Go back down there. Go into the telly.
the green light. Oh, I think it's green light. Whatever it is, the bottom
that's
right.
what it takes.
Just on its way.
And then
Have to wait a little bit there. You can see the green light over there.
I'll tone it down with this one.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Exactly. Yep. Cracked it.
So I'll come back to Daniel, who's sadly no longer with us, but the Genius Award is running in his name, and for the 5 years
this
after that,
is,
he
what
taught
is
us
current
more than I learned in all my
screen. It's
previous
just our latest
years
version
about technology.
of a screen that
And I'm going
that
to
James
stop
can use
this
for
in just one
writing
second. This is the
during
eye control
last,
screen, and
6
anyone can
months have
use
been
this kind of
evolving
technology.
through
James here is controlling it. If you don't mind, we'll stop the video there, and I'll just make some closing comments.
And it's lovely seeing it relaxed like.
Yeah, we can stop there, thank you. There's acres of this footage. What I really wanted to say, and I could have introduced hundreds of other people, I wanted to end on Daniel because of something his mother, who you just saw in that clip there, his mother Liz O'Hare told me. We weren't sure if it was worth pushing. You know, we didn't have money for the project. It didn't fit anybody's category of what ought to be funded. It's not health, it's not disability studies, it's not exactly literacy, it's not exactly media. I made the argument, as I always do, until we provide these tools, we don't know what these locked-in people have to tell us. They are our best teachers. We eventually won the money, etc., etc. But the important thing is that Liz O'Hare told me why it mattered. That until Daniel had not only the content, but the content of the grid, the education literacy program, but the tool, he couldn't demonstrate that he could even understand anyone. He couldn't convince the doctors to let him go home. Once he went home, he played on stage with his favorite rock band using his eyes. He went to Liverpool and watched a football match. He traveled the world with his family, and he became a librarian. On the day he was stabbed, it was his first day of work after graduating high school as a librarian. And his life mission was to teach about literacy. It's what he wanted to do. So his dad fitted out a van and made it a mobile library. And he had 5 very happy years working in that way before he sadly did pass away. So in honor of Daniel and others here, I just say again, I think I'm not interested in the definitions of these terms, though I thought the introduction was fantastic and comprehensive. There's all kinds of knowledge locked into the people who can't tell us, and that's the bit that I think maybe we could all pay some attention to, because it does enrich the field so very much, and that needs longitudinal funding and everybody's best practices combined. And I'll end there. Thank you.